On February 23rd of this year, 25-year-old Ahmad Arbery was killed as he jogged through a neighborhood outside of Brunswick. It would be 3 more months before we would find out the horrible truth of that day.
Since then, there has been another senseless killing, and great turmoil has gripped America, shedding new light on the racial issues that have divided us for too long. But today, a community called for justice for Ahmaud Arbery. Crowds gathered outside the courthouse and chanted, prayed, and wept for a young man and former Brunswick High football player who was taken from us too soon.
912 Sports would like to say to all mother and father, family, friends, and former teammates that we stand with you. And to everyone, we run with all. Together, from all of us at 912 Sports.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Welcome back, sports fans. Thanks for watching tonight. Thursday Night with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke, publisher of 912 Sports. Joined now by writer Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing this evening, buddy?
I'm doing good, Sean. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got a little audio issue going on. Not really sure what's happening. I think we got some gremlins at work here, but everything seems to be repeating right now. We're trying to get that cleaned up for our first break. But Kevin, it's a big pre-weekend here with everything to kick back off on June 8th. Schools are able to open back up and have small groups. So I know a lot of coaches are excited, a lot of players are excited. I'm a fan. I'm excited. So talk a little bit about that and what's going on in the Brunswick area, getting ready for June 8th.
Yeah, so actually, I don't know if you saw it or not, Sean, but of course we had Coach Rocky Hidalgo on last week with Glenn Academy and talk through things a little bit. We'll have Sean Pender on with us here momentarily as well, the Brunswick High football coach. But last week, Glenn County released its return to play policy It's basically following a lot of the guidelines and protocols and rules that we have talked about that the GHSA instituted. And of course, each community, each school district has to turn in their official plan to the GHSA. So Glenn County has done that. They're ready to proceed. And from there, basically what's going to happen is actually today, Steve Waters, the Glenn County Schools athletic director, held a little press conference, if you will. They had a lot of the equipment, a lot of the supplies that they're going to use, hand sanitizer, of course, cleaning supplies. They got some donations, of course, from Southeast Georgia Health System, which is the official health care provider for the Glenn County school system, and Glenn County Athletics. Also, Coca-Cola here locally is a big supporter of athletics in the Glenn County school system. They're going to do some things as well to donate, basically Powerade and things of that nature, and water bottles and whatnot. So Steve held a little get together today. The athletic trainers at both Glenn and Brunswick were there and just kind of talking through things with the media. And it sounds like Glenn County has all their ducks in a row, all their I's dotted and T's crossed, and kind of sitting around and putting the final touches on getting ready for next Monday. And it's not going to be without its little problems, little things they're going to have to tweak. But I think within 2 or 3 days, the kids are going to get the message. They probably already know basically what they're facing, what they're getting into. But a lot of it in the first couple of days is going to be education. The athletic trainers really talked about that. They'll make sure the kids and the coaches, they've already been, of course, talking to the coaches to make sure they understand, all the protocols and whatnot, and that all these things need to be taken seriously. So I think Glenn County's well prepared and ready to roll starting next week.
Hey, Kevin. I think we have issues with Sean's audio. Sean, have we got you now? Let's find out. And we're going to bring Sean back on. And Sean, no, still no audio. He went from doubled up to talking crazy. Sean, or to not talking at all. Let's see what we're doing to do here. We're going to click Sean off. So let's keep going, talking about the preparations coming back. Now, this is going to happen Monday, right?
Right.
And then what do we got? We've got coaches that have to decide. The first thing they had to find out was how to keep them in groups of 20. Which coach can the head coach bounce around? They said no. So, I'm looking forward to finding out from Coach Pender and finding out exactly what's going to happen as far as putting people back on. And Sean, I think we got you now.
Let's try that, fellas. Is that better?
That's better.
Yes.
All right. Well, what I was saying before when everybody couldn't hear me is Ware County released a video on all the steps that they're going to be going through. We're going to watch a little bit of that later. And I tell you, Ken, I'm really impressed that they've been able to put all this together in such just a short amount of time. But listen, these school systems are doing everything they can to keep these kids safe with temperature checks and, keeping them separated, keeping them together in the same groups. So I was really impressed that they were able to make this, put this system together so fast, and it's really, really efficient. So, of course, like you said, it's not going to be without its hiccups, but at least it's a step forward, and it's a way to get these kids back into, becoming a part of, getting ready for fall ball here.
Yeah, we'll talk to Coach Pender here in a moment. He's our first guest out of the gate, and he'll talk about how the Pirates are going to handle things logistically. And also talk with Coach Rocky Hidalgo a little further today about how Glenn Academy is going to handle things. And they're very similar. I mean, they're going to have kids not getting there too early. They want them there on time. They'll go through a pre-screening, and they'll go through a warm-up period in their group, basically, and then they'll be ready to go. One group will leave the weight room. They'll have time to sanitize it, get things cleaned up before the next group runs in there. And both of the schools here have their players divided into different groups, coaches working with those groups. They have to stay in the same group for the next couple of weeks. And it's basic workouts, agilities and conditioning, weights, running, all those kind of things to get their kids back up and going. And then hopefully in time, if time will allow and if things will allow, to start doing maybe some more football specific things next month, maybe from early July on, until they really get down to official practice, assuming everything stays online.
Exactly. Well, Kevin, let's get into tonight's show. We got a great show coming up for you. We're going to show you a little bit of that Ware County video. They did a great job of putting that together. We're going to show you some clips off of it. Jeff Davis, football coach, Coach Lance Helton, is going to join us on location from Atlanta tonight. Football with him. But coming up next, we got Brunswick High football coach Sean Pender. He's going to be right back here with Kevin Price when Thursday nights with 912 Sports returns.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school and homeschool students in grades 9 through 12, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. And Kevin, hopefully we're going to have a chance to talk to Coach Pender, who's waiting in the wings or coming on shortly here. We're going to talk to him. How his plan is. Coach Pender was actually at a booster club meeting tonight, which is a good sign, Kevin, that, that these things, these wheels of motion that take to make these football programs move forward are actually starting to take place.
Yeah, I think, basically tonight, of course, Coach Pender may talk about that when we get him on, but, they were talking about some of the, financial things, I guess, that the booster club, may have to help with to get through this first month, and then also, going ahead and kind of planning for the rest of the summer and the rest of the season, assuming that everything will go off and be, still on time for an August start to the season. So, preparations are being made here in Glenn County by the athletic department, by both schools, Brunswick and Glenn, to get things going as well. And of course, I think we may talk to Coach Brandon Derrick over at Frederica soon, but I guess the GISA schools actually were able to get going back on June 1st, if they felt comfortable locally. And I know Frederica got things going just like the public schools here are in Glenn County, actually on Monday. And of course, as you know, Sean, that was the original plan for the GHSA. But then after they had their meeting with the Board of Trustees, everybody kind of felt more comfortable leaning towards this coming Monday, June the 8th. And then as we talked about last week, some of the school systems in Atlanta with maybe more schools under their umbrella, like a Gwinnett County or Henry County or something like that, decided to delay things until actually a week from Monday, 15th.
Well, and like I said, I think the first was people were just worried about making that target date. And so everybody agreed to push it back to the 8th. But now these Atlanta schools are really kind of going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit, Kevin, because they're going to miss a whole week. Now, I understand the reason why they're doing it. But, I applaud GHSA for letting the schools that were ready to make it happen to go ahead and proceed with these conditioning workouts because, just because they can't get their house in order doesn't mean if Ware or Glenn or Brunswick or Camden is not ready to go with theirs, they should have to sit and wait for another week. So I applaud GHSA for saying, hey, listen, if you're ready after the 8th, you've got your plan in place, you guys go ahead and get after it. And then when, the Atlanta schools can get there, then they can come on board and do their own thing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what all the concerns were with some of the Atlanta schools for delaying it a week. I just know that, Fulton County school system, maybe, Gwinnett County, I think Henry County might have been one of them. I'm just naming those three. I'm not sure that I'm right, but, they have several schools under the district umbrella. So, for instance, here in Glenn County, of course, the Glenn County school system is made up of two high schools, Glenn and Brunswick. So a little bit easier for them to maybe manage things and make sure their trainers and their coaching staffs and everybody are on the same line and that the facilities are all ready. I guess mainly it was just, given an extra week of time to make sure that all the schools were kind of on the same page, pretty much doing everything the same way, even though some of their schools, might have had to do things a little bit different just because of their own circumstances. But I really think that was the biggest reason, and maybe kind of erring on the side of caution to make sure everybody is just on the same page with something this serious.
Yeah, and you're talking about Gwinnett probably got 35 high schools, so somewhere around that number. So you're talking about a lot more, plans to put in place and things, protocols and things like that to follow. So I kind of get that, but again, I applaud GHSA for doing the right thing there and go ahead and open it up to schools. And we talked a little bit about it last week, Kevin. We're hoping that even though we can't do anything in June, that we get the word here in the next week, 2 weeks, that what's going to happen in July, because again, all this stuff takes planning. So, GHSA or the state of Georgia can't wait until June the 30th to go, okay, well, hey, on July the 6th, you guys can do X. So we're hoping that some of those guidelines are going to come down here in the next couple of weeks that says, okay, on this date, we're going to go to phase 2, and this is what phase 2 is going to include. I mean, we all know this is phase 1. We all know it's going to kick in this Monday, but hopefully, like I said, here in the next week or so, we're going to hear some stuff about phase 2 and when that's.
Yeah, I think so. I think most of the coaches, or at least a few that I have talked to, are optimistic that things will kind of keep progressing and they'll be able to do things, with bigger groups and more football specific things going forward. Of course, normally. Right now, I mean, it would be voluntary workouts just like they are now. Of course, we all know that really kind of means mandatory, like we talked about last week.
Kind of voluntold.
Right. If the kids really want to be on that 2 deep chart and show the coaches that they're taking things serious. But, June, people would be doing passing leagues and linemen and position groups and whatnot would be going to camps. And a lot of these kids would be visiting other schools at the same time on recruiting visits. So a lot is not going on right now that normally would be. But I think most of the coaches, if things go well, I think the real idea was to just get things back up and running, concentrate on the conditioning to make sure the kids are acclimated and ready to go. I mean, you would like to think a lot of these kids are doing things by themselves, either at home or now back in the gym that they go to, in their own communities, being that things are kind of opening up along that line, but you can't know for sure. So you get all these kids into the team environment, you get them back going again, and you get them preconditioned and ready for football type stuff. And it won't be full bore in July. I mean, there still will be rules and regulations. There always are, but they hope to maybe do some 7-on-7s within their own team. Have some lineman drills and whatnot with their own team. Some modified contact things, and then be a little bit more like football, I guess, real football practice, go through the playbooks and whatnot. And then come July, 27th, I believe is the actual date, they could really get going with what you might call mandatory real football practice leading into hopefully preseason scrimmages. And then an August 21st start to the season.
Right. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Well, first of all, I want to thank some sponsors here for 912 Sports. Coastal Pines Technical College, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Prime South Bank, and Gibson Animal Clinic. And we appreciate all of our sponsors for allowing us to do Thursday nights on 912 Sports. We're going to kick it back to Rob and see if we can get Coach Pender or Coach Helton to come on and join us. And we'll be right back here with more information on Thursday nights with 912 Sports.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, across from Harvey's in Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
All right, welcome back to Thursday Night with 912 Sports. I'm Kevin Price, staff writer and podcast host for 912 Sports. Coach Pender is with us, but he's a little bit crooked there, I guess. Now, I think what I'm understanding is Coach Pender can hear us, but he can't actually see us. But we can see him on screen, and you can see him. Coach, can you hear us?
See me.
Okay, so you can hear me, and I can hear you now.
We're good, and I can see you now. I just can't
okay.
See
Well,
you.
Good. You're a little bit sideways. Is there a way you can turn it to get straight up? There we go. There we go. Right there. Perfect. I got to Coach Pender there a little bit, so I feel excited about that. Coach Pender, of course, I saw you earlier today, and of course, it's good to be able to see you and talk to you here tonight. I can see a smile on your face, and you're about to go to something fun. I know you had a Booster Club meeting, and we don't really have to get into all that, but we talked about it a little bit. Things are kind of rolling along, and you're making plans there in Pirate Nation, and your coaching staff actually does something interesting on Thursdays now in the summer. Just talk about maybe where you're going after you get off with us.
Yeah, our coaching staff, and this is something our coaches came up with, and I love it. It was a great idea. We just alternate houses, and we go to, and we just have some camaraderie. Whoever the host is going to provide finger foods tonight. Coach Grady, he's providing finger foods, and then you just come and enjoy, and we just have camaraderie, and we talk about, of course, we'll talk about things with our football program, but we talk about more than that. We share our family lives with each other just to try to become better. Right now, we've been talking and diving deep into social issues, and if you know our staff at all, we are very culturally diverse staff. And I just think us getting together and talking about these issues and attacking them head on as men, mature men, I think it's going to help us do a better job in leading our players when we get back with them.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that in a moment. But like I said, you had a smile on your face. You're around the office today. Of course, I can assure everybody that all the proper things are taking place now with social distancing and whatnot. The Brunswick High locker room is always clean, but it looked really spectacular today. So we talked about it, Coach. Everybody's kind of sitting around waiting for Monday. You've got all your plans in place. I feel like Glenn County has a good, solid plan. We'll talk about what the Pirates are going to do in a moment, but just how excited are you to get back? I think you're more excited about seeing your kids and talking to your kids than you are really working out.
Absolutely, man. I miss them, fellas. Yeah, we've come such a long way, and we've grown so much. I mean, our little saying about what we are, it's all about the family, and we really promoted that throughout the off season. And the gains we were making in the off season were incredible. And I'm just hoping, we've had a lot of time where we've been apart, and our kids been in dialogue with us. We've been doing Zoom meetings. Well, we started doing Zoom, we couldn't do Zoom anymore. We had to go to Google Meets, but our staff has been doing meetings and everything on the internet, and just trying to keep in touch with our kids, whether it be through text, social media, but we just haven't been with them. And, I miss that. And I'm excited about being with them, and I'm going to have the opportunity to be with our kids come Monday.
And Coach, let's just talk about how this conditioning period is going to go, and let's talk specifically about what Brunswick's going to do. We've talked about the guidelines and whatnot that the GHSA released for the last couple of weeks, so I know people that have been watching the show all familiar with that. It's basically very similar to what all of us are dealing with. And of course, you have to sanitize and keep people apart and whatnot. But just talk about how the Pirates are going to handle the logistics of it next week.
Well, we're breaking up our groups into pods. We're going to have groups of 18 guys going with 2 coaches, and they'll have to go through a check-in, type deal where we go through a screening process. And then when they go, and we're going to do that in the high school gym where it's a big staging area. And then our weight room, if you're familiar with it, it's long, it's stretched out. We have 17 stations and we're only servicing 18 kids. So we're going to be able to really stretch them out in the weight room. We'll have the 2 coaches that are with them all the time in there. And then of course our strength coach. Now our strength coach is going to stay, a safe distance away, and we're going to do all the protocols that we're supposed to do. But they're going to go through a workout session. The workout session is going to last around a 40-minute period, and then they're going to leave out. Now, in the workout session, we're really concentrating on getting stronger, but we also have injury prevention methods and stuff like that, some stretching and stuff we're going to do. Then we're going to take them out to the field, and we're going to condition them. And our conditioning periods are a 20-minute long conditioning period. We don't have to use the whole 20 minutes, but, because you can get a kid conditioned really good in about 10, 15 minutes when you're on the field, especially in this heat. But we also have another avenue just in case we can't get them outside with weather or whatnot. We'll be using the upstairs multi-purpose room to get that part done. And then the next group will come in. You'll have enough time to sanitize your weight room and everything, and you have the next group coming in before that. But we have 6 groups. The kids' day, the first group will start at 8 a.m. Our coaches will be there at 7 a.m. And then we're going to go all the way through to probably around 4 or 4:30 before we're done.
And Coach, you kind of hinted on the workouts. I mean, really, y'all were, deep into your off-season program. And so you're really going to probably start back at the basics, right? And just kind of build from there.
Yeah, we got to see where our kids are. This first week's going to do a lot of telling with us. And we kind of got our guys grouped where we kind of have an idea where they might be. But when we get them there in this first week, it'll be a talent. And then we're going to adjust. And that's what this time period's really been all about, is planning and adjusting. So we're ready for that. So we have several plans in place, but we're going to start off, like you said, with the basics, see where we are, and then we're going to try to move forward as quickly as possible.
And Coach, you touched on something I wanted to touch on with you. We talked about it a little bit earlier today. Obviously, the nation's in turmoil. Here we had the Arbery killing, and of course, Ahmaud was a former football player at Brunswick High. So I know, obviously, a lot of people around the program have ties to him and his family. Talk about how you're going to talk about some of these things with your kids and your coaches.
The number one thing that we're going to do is we're going to address these issues as a staff. I mean, I think it's very, very important that these, and if you know anything about our staff, our staff is very multicultural. We got guys from Philadelphia, from Chicago. We got guys that are right here in rural South Georgia. We have white coaches, we have black coaches. We had a very good, diverse mix. If you look at what our staff is like, it's really pretty much like split down the middle. And we are going to sit down as a staff. We've already started the process. We've been, Kevin, we've been like doing these little social events like we're doing tonight, getting together because we want to keep the camaraderie. Something we've done in the off season with our Pirate Leadership Program, as we really started developing a family-based mindset around here, where we all take care of one another, we love one another, and we want to make sure we keep that. And the number one way to do that is to keep your staff to have that unity. And if your staff has that unity, then it's going to be easy, because now it's not hypocritical, because you obviously, all of us in this profession want our team to go out united and be one, no matter what the adversity is in front of us. But we have to show and set that example, Kevin. And I want to make sure our staff is going to be on the same page, what we're trying to do. And yeah, we have, our nation's hurting right now. We, the eyes are opened up to more than America than I believe ever before in my lifetime. I mean, some things probably weren't like this in the 60s, but in my lifetime. This is the most attention that these causes have gotten, and then people from different backgrounds are getting together and trying to do what's right because it's the right thing to do. And I want to make sure our staff is on page, and we are. You look at our staff, we do have differences in our staff, but we're looking at each other and we're able to talk to one another without hiding or without being scared of what we're saying, because we developed a relationship with one another that we trust each other and we love each other. And if we can get that to our players, and you do that, you do that with sincerity, because kids read fake. They'll know if you're being fake or not. You do it with sincerity, then we can really make a change and be forerunners in what's about to happen. I think 2020 is going to be a very, very promising year after all the issues and stuff that has happened with COVID and now this.
Yeah, and Coach, let's talk about that. I mean, 2020, of course, got interrupted for all of us with the pandemic. And before that hit, you guys were deep into your off-season training program, working out and whatnot. And I guess you maybe were 4 or 5 weeks away from getting on the field for spring practice. But you mentioned to me today that the off-season was going great. You were making strides in all sorts of ways. So just talk about how far the Pirates have come since we saw them in the second round of the playoffs last year.
We didn't miss a beat. If you followed us last year, you saw that we got stronger as the year went on. We got better. We were more cohesive as a team. And then in the off season, we just continued with that. We did our leadership program in the zero period, and we focused only on in January and February. We focused only on bettering ourselves. See, we believe over here in Brunswick to develop you in 3 different ways. We believe in developing you physically, and that's in the weight room. We had freshmen gaining on the 3 main lifts: bench, squat, power clean, over 260 something pounds. That's incredible. And from November to February, making great strides physically. We talked about making the strides mentally, teaching them how to watch film, teaching them how to break down opponents, teaching them the game and the terminology and that aspect of it. And then we also talked about developing them spiritually, their passion, giving them the tools, not just talking about something that's motivational, but giving them the ability to talk about things that matter, giving them some empowerment in our program, because there's a big difference, Kevin, between motivation and empowerment. Motivation's short-lived. Anybody can get up and hype somebody up and get ready to rock and roll on anything, whatever the cause may be. But to keep it there, all right, after the newness wears off, after that penny isn't shiny anymore, or after they don't feel they have anything else to talk about, all right, that's where you want to empower these individuals and give them the tools that they need to make sure a movement like this is lasting, where it'll be there and you can make it stick and you can make a true change.
And Coach, obviously you guys missed spring practice, but you have been doing some football related stuff like you talked about in Zoom meetings and all kinds of things like that. What were you guys going through? Were you doing things with position groups and going through the playbook and whatnot?
We were starting to get to that point. The first thing we were getting to was we reevaluated things that happened last year, and we wanted to make sure we were going to do things a little bit better this year with our returning players. And then we also did goal sheets, looking at our players academically, athletically, and personally, where they are now, where they want to be in the immediate future, where they want to be 5 years from now. Doing all that stuff helped us develop a better relationship. We were going through all that process as we were doing that leadership class that we did in Zero Block. And then we were just starting to get into what we call mayhem in the morning, which is a physical like training activity like mat drills. And we were doing that 2 days a week. And the other 2 days a week, we were starting to get into making sure we understood, like with the quarterbacks, for example, understanding how to read a defense, understand the difference between an odd and even front and stuff like that, and starting to implement the way we're going to attack certain types of coverages, certain types of fronts. That's the phase we were in before all this hit.
I got you. And Coach, we talked about it a little bit today. And of course, you don't have a crystal ball, and none of us really know what's going to happen with the coronavirus and COVID-19 going forward. But you seem to be at least cautiously optimistic that as we go forward, things could ramp up. Are you hopeful that some more football type stuff can go on maybe in July, and y'all can have a football out there to throw around when you're having practice and workouts?
Very optimistic, Kevin. The way I'm looking at things, we're going to go through these next 3 weeks like it is. I'm just waiting to hear what else Governor Kemp has to say and how he opens it up. Because the more Governor Kemp opens it up, the more GHSA will loosen up their rules. But I really think come July, we're going to really be able to get it on and start getting back to some normalcy. That's what the vibe I'm trying to put out there is going to be.
I got
So
you.
I'm looking for it.
And Coach, you guys obviously gained a lot of momentum last year, coming off a losing season the year before, making it to the second round of the playoffs last year. A lot of young players in the program. A lot of guys grew up. You're getting some young players into the program with some talent. So it kind of seems like the Pirates have some positive momentum. Just talk about that and talk about the team that you think you could have here in 2020 if we do indeed get to have a season.
Oh, it can be a very good team. It can be definitely a turnaround. We've made a lot of strides. I'm very optimistic about the group of young men we have coming back. Our character's better than ever. I'm just hoping everything's staying, true to what it was before this pandemic hit. And I just think that we're going to continue to make sure. I know we're going to be rusty when we get back. Just being out of whack a little bit, but everyone's going to be in that same boat. I think we have a resilient group, and we have a lot of leadership coming back, which is something that we haven't had in the past. So I'm excited for this year to get started. I can't wait to see our guys. I can't wait to see how much they grow, where they've grown, and we're gonna get out. I think our guys are going to be hungry, and I think that's going to make a difference.
Coach, the last question, a positive thing, I guess, or I know it is you have several guys getting recruited, and you got two offensive linemen that are getting big-time offers. One is senior Caleb Cook, a rising senior Caleb Cook, and another one is a rising junior Kanaya Charlton. Those guys are getting looks by major programs, and I think you told me today you have 5 guys at least with several pretty good offers. Just talk about that aspect of recruiting and the looks that a couple of your guys are getting.
Recruiting has definitely been a little bit different this year. We're fortunate right now to have 5 of our guys that have offers, but we got some guys that are on the fence of offers, don't have very many offers. It's just because they haven't been able to be seen. You have a lot of guys that are interested in our fellows, but they were coming to look at our guys in the spring practice, and then they wanted them on campus and in the summer, and all that just went by the wayside. So some of these guys that don't have offers yet might get some offers come September, because they're going to be looking at them through their first 4 games of the season. But Amarion Whitfield, he's one of those guys got a few offers that it was hurt by this pandemic. I think Amarion would really have blown up if he was allowed to have a spring practice and a summer where he could actually go and show the coaches his speed, his athletic ability, sit there and talk with him and interview with him, because he's something special. And then you have Xavier Bean. Xavier Bean started to get a few offers here and there, but he's another one just like Amarion Whitfield that really needed to get in front of these coaches, and they really needed to see him perform and also meet with them. And then another guy, Caleb Hampton. Caleb Hampton's had several offers, and he's someone that started coming on strong later in the year, and you really should have seen how much this guy has progressed before the pandemic hit. So, I'm excited for those guys. I think those guys are all going to have some good offers, along with some others. You have several guys out there that are seniors that are very good ball players that are just waiting for an opportunity to be seen. You got KJ Lee, Tyrese Jones. Oh, AJ Wilson's another one. We didn't talk about that. He's got several offers, but he's really close to blowing up as well.
Well, awesome, Coach. Well, I'm going to let you go. Enjoy some good food and fellowship with your coaches. And as always, we appreciate your time and the time you take with us. with all the things we do with 912. And good luck starting on Monday. I know you got some things to work through, but hopefully it will go smooth. I know you got a good plan. And hopefully, just as we go through the summer, there'll be more and more good football talk to talk about.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. It's always good being on. You take care. You have a good night.
All right, Coach. Thank you as well. All right, that was Sean Pender, head football coach of the Brunswick High School Pirates. Up next will be Lance Helton talking football with Sean Smoke. Of course, Coach Helton is the head football coach at Jeff Davis High School in Hazelhurst. That's around the corner here on Thursday night with 912 Sports.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school and homeschool students in grades 9 through 12, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Thanks for watching Thursday.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined now by the head coach of the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets, Coach Lance Helton. Coach, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Sean, how you doing, man? I appreciate you having us on.
Brother, we appreciate you being here, man. You guys are getting ready to break things open here on Monday, the 8th. GHSA is kind of loosening the reins a little bit. Now we don't get to throw a ball around, but we do at least get back, and you guys are going to actually get to see your kids face to face, something you hadn't been able to do for 8, 9, 10, 12 weeks, whatever it's been now. I mean, it's been a very, very long time. But talk a little bit about how excited you and your staff are, Coach, to get a chance to see your kids.
Goodness gracious, man! It feels like it's been, an eternity. It's almost that feeling that you get coming into a program for the first time. Just, this amount of time that we've had away from the guys. So we've tried to work a little bit this week as a staff and just make sure, look, that we're motivated, but at the same time, we are efficient and not going in too strong to start off. I think that's a big deal with this 10-week period. You come in too hard, you're liable to lose some of these kids. Now, they've been eating honey buns and watching cartoons for a while. So we're excited about getting them back, working them in progressively in what we're doing in the weight room and on the field. And shoot, man, it's a great time to be a Jacket.
Your kids have been on the smoke diet plan, because if they have, you're gonna have to work them.
I heard that.
Well, Coach, you're coming into your fourth year there at Jeff Davis. Things went well last year. You guys started out the season 6-0. I believe we made it to the playoffs, but like I said, it was one of those deals where you guys are in a brutal region, Coach. I mean, you guys have got a tough region that you play in and year out. You are going to lose. I mean, you got 12 starters that are coming back, but you're going to lose a lot of your offense. Talk a little bit about what the plan is with you lost Kirby, your big running back. Your starting quarterback is going to be playing baseball at Jacksonville State next year. So talk a little bit about what the Jackets' plans are to kind of replace that offense that you're going to be losing to graduation.
Well, first thing, Sean, we're going to be in the shotgun. We're going to throw the ball every play on offense. Right? That's what we're going to do. We're, losing kids like Jay Sean Kirby and Britt Metz, along with all those other seniors, that group of seniors that we lost last year, Sean coming in, a lot of those guys started as freshmen the year before we got to Jeff Davis. Mm-hmm. Took their lumps, coming in a 1-9 year right there. And what those guys were able to accomplish and help us try to change the culture at Jeff Davis, those guys are going to be missed so much. Britt Metz, Jay Sean Kirby, So many more of those guys have played every snap of football for us since we've been there. Jason Kirby, I truly believe, was one of the most talented backs that I've ever coached. And Britt Metz, you guys have heard about him. You know, he's got folklore. You know what I mean?
Yep.
As a baseball player, as a football player. But what we'll miss with him more than anything is, Sean, he was truly a coach on the field for us. You know, he was making checks, putting us in the right situation. So the guy that takes that over has got big shoes to fill. You know, and we're not hiding from that. But what we want these young men to do is be themselves. You don't have to go be Jason Kirby. You don't have to go be Britt. Right. You don't have to go be Harrison Sheeler, Alex Sanders, any of those guys in our past. What we're asking you to do is to be the best you can be. And if we can, you know, you got to find 11. If we can find 11, we got a shot to win one. You know, if we find 11 that can do that, Sean, we feel really excited about what this team can bring. You know, they're, like we talked about earlier, with 10 weeks off, you're really seeing from a developmental phase, Sean, you're going to be surprised at what some kids have been able to accomplish in that time off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's going to be a growth spurt. There's going to be a 20-pound weight gain. There's going to be a new max here or there. And you're walking in, and all of a sudden it's going to be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be like Christmas morning. Yep. So, you know, we're really excited about the development of our kids, where they're at, and at the same time, with what we do on offense, you know, we make no bones about it. We're a wing tee program. I believe in it with all my heart and what we do. We feel like that offense allows us to mold around our pieces. So we feel like once we get the pieces into place, that's where our offensive identity is going to lie. Okay? The fact is, going in and year out, look, we going to praise the 4-yard football play. We're going to try to rattle the chains and let the goal rush work. So that's what we're going to do. And the same goes defensively. We're going to be multiple 8-man front. We're going to run around. We're going to try to get there with bad intentions, you know. And I think in this region, like you brought up, Sean, you got to. Region 2 AA is as tough as there is in the area. Swainsboro High School, Vidalia High School, Toombs County High School, you know, losing Metter, but gaining East Lawrence right in there. You got Bacon County High School, you know, and those guys are battling their tail off. And they are doing what they can every day, just like all of us, to be one of the 4. Just try to get to the dance. Mm-hmm. What happens?
Exactly. Well, you can't win it if you can't get to the dance. That's for sure. So, well, Coach, you do have a good young running back, a sophomore that you know, really performed well on the field for you last year. The young man's name escapes me right now, but you do have some returning starters that can turn into the next Jason Kirby, that can turn into the next Brett Metz.
You know, this senior class we have coming up, Sean, we had 4 of those guys start for us as freshmen in 2017, our first year. So those guys have played hundreds of snaps. You know, you're talking about 40-plus starts by the end of the year for those guys. So we've got a great veteran nucleus coming back. And we've got some young kids. I love our backfield. Trey Chandler at fullback. Austin Wood at that, what we call our Z-back, our right half. He's played every snap right there at that position since he's been in high school. And the H-back, you're talking about a Hias Allen. You know, we really love that backfield and what they can do. The great thing about those 3 kids is when you talk about playing in a loaded backfield, having multiple runners in the backfield, you got to be unselfish. No block, no rock. You know, try to preach that in our program. One cut, make them pay, and those guys feed off of each other, you know, and up front, we've got to handle our job. You know, one thing about us at Jeff Davis now, we're going to be a little undersized at times, but we're going to try to hang in there like a hair in a biscuit, man. We're going to try to get in and block you and hold on. So, you know, we really are excited about that. We've changed our coordinators, you know, and defensively, we're going to try to do some new things with our identity there. And in our kicking game, we're going to stay the same. You know, do what we do, try to win that phase of the game. And just once again, try to get back next week on Monday being about us. You know, I think you can't get in there on Monday in this first week, Sean, and just go in overdrive.
Right.
You got to get kids back in there and let them be around each other. Let them be around you. You got to find your niche in the program and be unified, okay? And that word unified right now with what all's going on in our country, that's the most important word we can say, okay? And that's what I'm more excited about than anything for next Monday.
Right. Now, with Monday, Coach, we had having everybody in small groups. How did you guys decide what group you put a kid in? If you got a kid both ways, who made the determination? Does he go with this group? Does he go with that group? How did all that work out for the Jackets?
That's a great question, Sean. I think first when we started layering up our groups, one great thing about being in a rural community is from figuring out our flow charts, figuring out our groupings, figuring out our layouts. Our team, Dr. Kirk Messiah, another doctor in the town, Dr. Jason Laney, and our athletic trainer, Jeff Weems, have all been integral and have made sure that we have followed all the guidelines for the GHSA. I think to everybody out there listening, we've got to do that. We got one shot to make this right. We got one shot to get it right. Okay. And we got to take care of our young people, take care of our coaches, and make sure that safety is of the utmost importance. But you talk about layering our group, Sean. We looked at it kind of differently. So we base our team on 3 different positions. Okay. And we talk about skill, big skill, and trench. Okay, so with our 5 workouts, we've got a trench group, we've got a big skill group, we've got a skill group, and then we're going to take our younger kids and get them in 2 different groups, which are going to be more developmental work. Okay, so we've got 5 groups coming in with our coaches rotating, and to be completely honest with you, we're going to spend time making sure, Sean, 10 weeks off, we got to teach them clean technique again. Yep. We've got to go over side spotting on bench and parallel squat. We've got to do some of those things from a safety standpoint, which what we can't afford here, Sean, is to come in on Monday, lose one on Wednesday for 10 weeks.
Yep.
We've got to build up this program and make sure we're hitting this thing full speed right there at the dead week.
That's right. Well, like I said, the finish line ain't Monday. That's just a starting point.
Right.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on with the 912 Sports here tonight. We're looking forward to following along with the Jackets this year. It's going to be a great year. We all got our fingers crossed that we're going to be getting back to some type of football practice in July, getting off of the conditioning part, getting back into football practice, and then God willing, we're going to be playing some football in the fall. Let's all keep our fingers crossed and. Like I said, and we all know safety's first, but I think GHSA's put together a good plan. I think all these high schools in the area have done a tremendous job of following those guidelines and keeping these kids as safe as possible. And let's hope that when we talk here in 4 or 5 weeks that everybody's still safe and we're making progress to starting in August.
Sean, we're going to do that. This area, this 912 area is full of great coaches, great programs. And I believe that in our state right now, in our country, more than anything, this 912 area code needs football.
Yeah, it does.
For everything it brings. It brings small communities together. It brings large communities together. And it's going to, like we talked about earlier, man, it's going to unify this thing. I appreciate what you guys do, what you stand for with all teams in this area code. Man, when you're wearing Navy, you're as good as gold. Go Jackets.
All right, Coach, we sure do appreciate it. Y'all get home safe. That's Coach Lance Helton, head coach of the Yellow Jackets, from Jeff Davis as they get ready to start the season on Monday the 8th as they get back to condition. Hey, but we're going to take a quick break and come right back here, and Kevin and I are going to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going to be put in place on Monday. But you're watching Thursday Nights with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Spoke, publisher.
We'll be right back with more of Thursday Night with 912 Sports in just a moment.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, across from Harvey's in Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Thanks for watching Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Now, let's get back to the team.
Kevin, I hope you took some of those nuggets out of that last interview there with Coach Lance Helton. There are far, far too many to go over them all right here, but I think my favorite was hanging there like a hair in a biscuit.
It's funny that you said that, Sean. I have a good friend from Ocilla, Georgia, and I never will forget the first time he said that. I said, "Huh? Say that again?" And he was real fond of that saying. And actually, I have not heard that. He actually moved away a couple of years ago, and I have not heard that since. And ever since Coach said that, I've been sitting here in my room smiling. I mean, hanging in there like a hair in the biscuit. And you can tell he's a Rick Tomlin disciple, right? I mean,
he is. Yes.
He used to rattle the chains. I know Rick Tomlin likes to use that. Of course, Coach Tomlin, I should say, is over in Appleton County, another one of our schools. And they used to talk about rattle the chains and bring the pain when he was at Washington County. But he was talking about rattling the chains and here comes the gold rush. So I like that.
Yeah, I love it staying there. When you wear the Navy, you're as good as gold. So,
yeah. And I was going to tell you, I could play for that guy, no doubt about it. He would get my best effort, and you could also sense the excitement in Coach Pender's voice, and he really is more excited about getting around his kids, I think, and just being with his football players and his coaches like they're used to, more so than working out and whatnot. Now they're going to take all the protocols with COVID-19 very seriously, and when they get down to football, weightlifting, and of course more as we go through the summer, they're going to take all that seriously. But he really is just really wanting and looking forward to getting back and seeing his kids and his coaches.
Exactly. I mean, and we've talked about this every week, Kevin. These guys are not in this for the money. They're not in this because, it makes them look good in the community. They're in this because they care about kids. Every one of them are in it for they care about. Because if you're not, you're in the wrong business, and to have that taken away in for such a long time, I think it's made a lot of them, understand why they're in this business now. So I think it'll be good for everybody. I think it'll be good for the kids to get back around the coaches to get back around the kids. And it's got to feel a lot more normal than what the last 10 weeks have for sure.
Oh, no doubt about it. And obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a pain and a little bit of a hassle to have to deal with these things. And like Coach Helton said, you kind of get one shot at this and you want it to go right. And there's going to be things that they're all going to learn from each other. And it's just like they do with offenses and defenses anyway. They copy each other and whatnot. So they'll borrow a good idea from one school system. If another school system says they have this problem, they'll all try to make sure they don't go down that same avenue. So there'll be a lot of talking back and forth. There already has been with all these coaches. And, it's just going to be good for all these kids and coaches to really just get back with each other and be doing positive things around the sport of football.
Right. Well, Ware County put together a little video, and we've got some clips, and I think Rob's going to play some of it for us. But GHSA is serious about what's going to happen here, and all these schools have really taken this stuff into consideration. So let's watch a little bit about this video.
Hey everybody, we're certainly glad to have you back, but we got a few things we want you to be aware of for our return to play policy. Number one, no participant starting June 8th should arrive to this facility more than 15 minutes prior to your session, and you got to leave immediately following your session. There'll be no congregation prior to or after your session. As soon as it's over, guys, we got to get you to go home. All participants, that's athletes and coaches, must have a screening done, including your temperature check, all symptoms check, a pulse and oxygen level check upon arrival. You can't get away from it. And a record will be kept and preserved for all of the groups that are participating, and the records will include the participant's name, your arrival and departure times, and what activities you did that day. Hey, we're all in this together. The good thing is we're all getting back together.
Wake up, little Johnny. It's time to go to practice. Wake up! I said wake up! Good morning.
Good. Glad you brought your water with you.
Yes.
Your temperature is 96.7. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Okay, let me just put your finger right there. All right. Have you had a fever?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you had a cough?
No, ma'am.
Do you have a sore throat?
No, ma'am.
Or do you have any shortness of breath?
No, ma'am.
Are you having any recent loss of taste or smell?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And have you been in close contact with anyone that has COVID-19?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And let's check your pulse. Good. You have a 96 in the oxygen separation, and you have a pulse of 64. Good job. You are clear to go with your coach. Okay? Thanks. Take your water with you. Okay? Thanks. Take your water with you. We're going to ask you a few questions first.
And that just shows you a little bit about what Ware County has got put in place there.
Okay.
Rob, you can go ahead and stop that. But if you want to, you can see that on YouTube. It's on Ware County Gators YouTube page. You can go ahead and watch the whole thing. But it even goes into, Kevin, if you get there and you have a temperature, what they do at that point. So it's all laid out, it's all mapped out, and it's like you said, it's going to be something different from these kids from just showing up. But it's something that's very necessary. And as a matter of fact, right before we came on, Kevin, I sent everybody a link. The Alabama football players showed back up today. They got tested. Five players from Alabama tested positive with COVID-19. So, that is a reality of today that we're going to deal with. And I can assure you, just from a number standpoint, Kevin, at some point, one of these kids in the 912 are going to show up to one of these things, and they're going to be tested, and they're going to be positive. I mean, there's no way of getting around from the numbers of that.
Yeah, and I didn't read the link yet, and I definitely will do that. I guess one question I have, I'm assuming all those guys were asymptomatic and didn't realize they had it. Is that correct?
That I'm not sure. I didn't get into the minutia of the story, but like I said, 5 guys tested positive, and that was just upon arrival. I mean, I don't think these guys were exposed to the other team, so don't misinterpret what I said. But when they arrived, they didn't meet the criteria, just like they set out here. And then once they were tested, they came back and they tested positive. Now they could have been asymptomatic, they could have been showing something, but again, that's the reality of the world that we live in today. And like you said, one asymptomatic person who has no symptoms goes into a 20 group person, and then the other 20 people are exposed. So it's very, very important that these protocols are followed.
Well, and that's part of the reason, Sean, as you know, and we've talked about it for 3 weeks now. One of the protocols is groups of 20, but obviously you have to have adult supervision with those groups, so that even includes the coaches. So most of the time, what we're kind of hearing is they're going to have groups of 18, most likely of kids, with 2 coaches working with those groups. And those kids and those coaches are in those groups for the next 3 weeks for sure. And part of that reason is if anybody in that group were to test positive, automatically they know to test and do everything they need to do with the other people in that group. So that way they know who's been in groups and whatnot, and they can quickly test those other people. And those could be real life situations that any school in the 912 or around the state of Georgia has to deal with. It's just reality.
And it's essentially, Kevin, it's tracing without it being tracing. It's basically what it is. I mean, you hear all this stuff on the news about, tracing and tracing and tracing and tracing. And that's essentially what GHSA has put in place. Well, if we do find somebody that is positive, at least we have a thing. You saw in that video, you're basically clocked in, you're clocked out, what activities you took that day, what your temperature was, what your oxygen level was. All of that stuff is going to be kept in record. So like you said, the unfortunate thing, if something does pop up, at least they can say, okay, this is the line that we have to follow.
Right. And now, I hate to get too far ahead of ourselves, but when we get to July, if they're having to still do some of these same testing procedures and whatnot, you're going to have bigger groups out there, more people potentially exposed to whoever this one kid or one coach is that tested positive. So it becomes a little bit more of a headache. And then truthfully, when you get down to the season, I mean, I really don't know what kind of things all the teams are going to have to be dealing with, but you have to expect that there's going to be some similar measures in place. And I mean, it could be that a quarterback gets tested positive on Monday. The whole team has to go through all this again, but all of a sudden you're going to back up a quarterback for your game that Friday night. And I mean, I know that could happen at any other time, but this is just another way that could happen. And all the schools are in the same boat. They're all in it together, and hopefully we can avoid as many of those situations as possible. We never like to see kids get hurt or sick and anything like that. So, but I do feel I can see where county's taking this very seriously just by doing that video right there alone. That they're taking this very seriously. I can assure you that Glenn County is as well. From talking to Coach Helton, it looks like they have a great plan in place. They had doctors and trainers and everybody involved. And I really feel like, without talking to everybody for sure, but I feel like most teams in our area and around the state are going to take this very seriously. You got kids involved, and they want to make sure that those kids are safe and secure before they even get down to doing football stuff.
Exactly. Well, we got to go for tonight. We appreciate everybody watching Thursday nights with 912 Sports. Come back next Thursday. We'll have another great show for you. Appreciate Rob behind the curtain, flipping all the switches and turning all the knobs. Great interview, Kevin, there with Coach Pender. Appreciate Coach Helton, coming on with us and talking a little jacket football. And I appreciate David Shields and Ware County was sharing that video with us tonight, so we can kind of show the fans exactly what these kids are going to be going through to get into these practices. But until next week, may all your check marks go in the win column. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for Thursday Night with 912 Sports. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Gibson Animal Clinic, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Coastal Pines Technical College, and Prime South Bank. Special thanks to the Golden Isles College and Career Academy,